I go forward on my own, yeah. So I start my own presentation here. So thank you for the word, Sailesh. To be honest, it's not my first presentation in front of a lot of Indians. Yeah, so it's the second time. I was last year with the CMTO class, and so I was already there. Okay, so break the monolith. I had seen so many cool talks today, and this is somehow, I think, at the end I say now, it's a nice wrap up that I do here, yeah, because it's covering everything. It's my last talk, and I'm happy that still so many people are here. So that is the thing. You can just tweet at me if you want. That's ugly Publicis Sapient standard pictures. It's not going further. Okay. So a quick introduction to myself. So I'm the front-end lead. So I said that already for the DACH region in Europe. I'm mostly responsible for that 4 offices. I use that nice postcard view. So yeah, it's Cologne, Berlin, Munich, and Frankfurt. And yeah, suddenly in the there's a guy popping up. Yeah, he is now one of my good friends that I've been working on long. He's in Frankfurt now. You maybe know him. It's corporate here from the Gurugram office, and he's relocated to Germany. Yeah. So my topic here, and you know it, I'm working with clients since years for Sapient. I started 2007, and we have all in our time monoliths or front ends that they support for years, and that they don't really want to change. Yeah, so it's a running system, it works, we make money with it, and yeah, it's fine for them, and so it's really hard to establish change. And so I thought of how can we break a monolith for my customer, for example. Yeah, and I have a quick view here, and you possibly all know that. We saw that today also when we saw Vikash talk about the performance. This is the network tab, yeah, of a monolith. It's my customer. I don't tell you the name. I can't tell it. But you see there is a massive global CMS, CSS. There is a Google Tag Manager as a third party, yeah, that is just super big. That's loaded. We have a lot of image sets, scripts, and yeah, it's just loaded. We have some kind of required JS already in place, but you see everything is just big. Yeah? There's no need for 500 kilobyte big files, yeah, that you need to load. That means while we are building our code, yeah, that we are also completely slow with time to market, because we just have that monolith that needs to be built, everything needs to be tested. So we have up to 4 weeks release cycles, and that's not really what we want to do. Yeah. So is that a common setup also for you? Are you used to that? So when you look in your source code of your project, of your current project, do you still see that? Who still sees that? Okay, but we are on a good way. I think if I would have asked that 2 years before, there would have been nearly every hand up. Yeah, because now with the new frameworks, that's a bit different. But so did you already changed something, or did you try to change something in that setups that you had? You, like Patrick, you showed, for example, your hand up. Did you really try to change on your monoliths? Who tried to change something? Yeah. So did it really make a big impact when you started on that? Or what did you do? For me, it was when I tried to do that with my customer, yeah, it was like trying to reduce the CSS, but there's a lot of risk, and you don't know if you need to, can do it, and you cause a lot of regressions. And so the impact was like, okay, we are now 20 kilobytes smaller. Now it's instead of 500 kilobyte, 480. That's not a lot. Yeah. So what we can do, yeah, for really introduce a change, going into web components. I don't know if you have ever heard of that technology. So it's what we do when we use React, or when we use Vue, or when we use handlebars, or whatever, yeah, that is rendering some components. Yeah, we try to create components for our front ends, yeah, that we can just reuse, that we can show in some kind of style guides or story, like Storybook was mentioned before. And that is just, yeah, helping us to reuse our applications. Yeah. But in a monolith setup, yeah, we can't do that really. Yeah. So yeah, we can't change things. Yeah. We can't extract things. Yeah. But what we can do, we can just remove markup. Yeah. That's maybe rendered from a server, and we can start using web components. And I just give a quick introduction into that. There are 3 main components, and one of the first things is our custom elements. And custom elements, they provide us a set of APIs where we can create front ends. Like you can, a custom element is something like a paragraph or a div or a span that you use, normally for yourself, and but that has a semantical meaning. A custom element, there you create your own semantic for that, So in that case, what I'm highlighting here, it's just a price element, and that has some price information with it, and it provides some currency and some symbol and whatever with that, And this is just used in the markup, and browsers can just consume that. So a custom element, you can just add that easily to your DOM, So you just move that markup that you've seen before into your custom element, and you can just extend an HTML element, and just define also some inner HTML for that. And it's just defined, and you just add it. The functionality of this, is already pretty good. So IE11, we hope that we all don't need to support that in the next 10 years or 5 years even, And Edge is now switching to Chrome, so the compatibility is not too bad. There are some issues with Safari on iOS or on macOS, but I will come into detail or go into details with support later. You see there is some API available, like that connected callback every time when you put it into the DOM, your element, and when you attach it to the DOM, this is called, and then this is happening. There are other API functions available, like the constructor. I just don't do that here. So if you are interested, go to the documentation. There are a lot of available in the web. Then additionally, we have the shadow DOM. Possibly most of you have heard of the shadow DOM. Have you worked really with that? Yeah, okay, that's cool. So because the shadow DOM offers a possibility that, what we did years before, we just created iframes, and we just added something there because we were afraid, like, oh, that could impact my parent application, and I don't know if there's something happening. And so we just created that, and that offers us that. So we have the possibility to add CSS and also markup into the shadow DOM. Shadow DOM is just here an example that I want to show you. It's also just from my brand side, that I have created for the customer for showcasing custom components, where you can just edit brands. You can just add that to the shadow root of your product list, and you can just choose what you want to see it at the top. I have a small animation later that shows that in more detail. There are also constructible style sheets and CSS modules up in the developer list of W3C consortium, but they are not really available yet. That's just a quick example of how you can create a shadow root. There's a mode, that's mostly all what you can do. There's a mode open or closed, so that you can manipulate it or not. And there's a slot that you can just add content to. Support here, same like before or similar like before. Edge will, with the change to Chrome, come. You see it here with 75. IE still not supported. And then there are templates. We all know them also somehow. So they are fragments that are in the content, and they are just injected into the markup, and they are just rendered when they are used. An example here, so they are just reusable templates. And here the example of my product list, that's a list, and that renders the product list, and it gets the item passed. Pretty easy. You know it from handlebars or how you use it in React or wherever. The support here is really good. There's no reason to not use it, to use the native functionality of a template, if you don't need to support the IE11. So, did I miss something? There's a fourth technology. Do you know it? No one? No, really? Oh, one person. I want to see one hand. Okay, so there are ES modules, they are bland, and so they are the fourth technology in the stack, and they will come, and they will support us even writing better JavaScript modules in the context of web components. But yeah, that's future. That will not be in the browsers in the next 2 or 3 years. So we now have reusable components, that are really framework agnostic, or even platform agnostic, and we can just use them for future development. You can imagine that, you work with React or you work with Vue or whatever, and you have that components and you can just use them there. So if there is a decision in the future from your company or from your customer or from whoever, to use a different technology, you can just use that, because you are not binded to something. So I have here a small video. It's not a video, it's a GIF animation, so it's returningly going on. So you see, that's my product list, and I can switch the category, and it's just updating asynchronously the contents and everything, and the price, and switches the whole content of the page, from the boots to the shoes. And the brand was a similar thing. You can see below here in the filters, in the styles filter preview, you can see the brand, and when the brand is changed from brand 1 soon, you see that even all the CSS variables are changing. And this is a huge improvement because you can just directly from your markup change the styles and also the whole application contents, with even using the whole same setup. And all controlled by variables. That's super interesting when you have a customer with 15, 20 brands that you need to support on your own platform. Everything is like you see here. It's just added into the body. There's the brand, the product list brand. Everything is the product list component that's just added into the content, and everything is just rendered natively. To be honest, that brings also a lot of additional wins. So you have the chance, for example, to easily A/B test because you have the DOM already there. You can just add easily an external script that is just manipulating, changing the sorting. You can easily change things here. It's not depending on any framework like Vue or Angular, so it's just natively supported by Chrome and Firefox. And that's the third point. So it's really already supported by that process. There are a couple of other things, like you don't need any server support, it's only data from a server. And like you can easily also on your own web components, it's only one file that needs to be saved and done. Legacy browsers, we had them already. Safari, I put him really here, because it's a legacy browser when it comes to that support. It's really not understandable why they are not doing it. IE, we possibly can forget him in the future, and Edge, fine, we'll have Chrome. Sadly, we'll have Chrome, that's my own opinion, but if you want to support them, there are on GitHub, you find polyfills for supporting web components so that you can just use them like shown before in the markup, and it will just work out of the box. You should not do that too much because the performance is not the best then on that legacy browsers, because everything needs to be manipulated and generated by CSS, by JavaScript, sorry. And you know all that issues when you do some such things with third parties. I used, for rendering this whole template and showcasing that to our customer, I used Polymer, just out of that reason, because we have currently a real lack of testing and build processes and doing good functionalities or state-of-the-art functionalities of what we heard here, like lean production or lean testing and all that things. And that is all out of the box in Polymer, so you can't forget it. So you install it, you set everything up, and it fails because you don't have created tests perfectly. It helps you. And I heard from a couple of people here in Gurugram already that for Unilever, for example, for one of the customers, there was also stencil used. So you can also use that for create proper web components cross-browser. So you maybe say now, that's all rendered in the browser, and what's about SEO? Yes, that's true. Please don't use that now as a blueprint and say, hey, Holger told me we should use web components or web elements, or custom elements, because don't use it for a static web page. Yeah, we saw some things like a static page. Yeah, you should not render that, yeah, as an replacement, yeah, for a static web page that you have. Yeah, because it's just not really machine readable. Yeah, where the content is not loaded and then the things are not there. Yeah, but there are workarounds for that. Yeah, and just use it for things like product landing pages where the data is changing. Yeah, use it for search result pages, search it, something like that, or when you need to filter content lists or something like that. Yeah. A solution for that is schema.org. Yeah, you should be. Who is using that in his project? Oh, there are some people. Yeah, so this is really one of the things that I encourage you to look at. Yeah, because you can add all the data of your products, for example, from a product landing page, yeah, as JSON structured data to your page. And a machine can read that, as Google is happy to read that. They don't want to parse HTML. Yeah, so when they get this information, they are really happy. And when below of that you have the custom elements or your web components, you can even use this as data to render the web components. Yeah, so you have a win-win situation on that kind of pages. Yeah. So I can tell you only, yeah, be brave and start something new every day. When you do or when you do your daily development, and when you're running into an own, yeah, monolith in your applications, yeah, just try to fix things and do something different. Thanks.